Hey guys, I'm back and I'm kind of right up in your grill this time. I really didn't like it back there, and we kind of moved some stuff around anyway, so we're just going to chill out right here. I'm here to review Colson Whitehead's The Nickle Boys. Let's go ahead and get started because this is a really good book and I want to get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Books Mata 2. I'm Richard and I'm here to review The Nickle Boys by Colson Whitehead. So this was a monthly book read from a book club that I'm part of on Facebook. It was the pick for January, so I'm a little late on it, but it's okay because it's like February 1st right now or 2nd or something like that. I probably won't be posting this for like maybe a couple more days or a week, but it don't matter. But anyways, this book is really good. I'm going to give you a quick overview and then I'll go ahead and get more into the details, okay? All right, here we go. Ready? Overview. Okay, so anyways, this is basically about a young boy named Elwood. He's pretty smart, pretty sharp. He's basically going to go ahead and go to college and everything like that. He winds up doing really good in school, and he has a job, staying out of trouble. And by the way, this is around the same time of segregation and Martin Luther King and all that civil rights movement is just going on, and you know, things are happening, right? So anyways, he ends up he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, basically. Just isn't that how it is though? Well, anyways, he ends up getting sent to this school for boys, basically, or basically like a juvie. He's sentenced there for a while, so he's got to basically learn how to survive in that environment, and it's a very rough environment. It's very racist. It's down south in Florida, so the racism is really strong at that time. A lot of horrific stories that come out of there. Anyways, he ends up concocting a plan to get out of there, and at the very end, he and a friend, a really good friend, escape. That's basically all I want to tell you for right now, because I want you to read the ending, because the ending was a surprise for me. Really good twist. Now, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more what I think about the book. So the author basically talks about Elwood whenever he's young and he's growing up, and what happened to his mom and his dad. His mom and dad leave for the West Coast, and he's basically living with his grandma. But his grandma keeps him pretty on the straight and narrow. He goes to school, he gets good grades, he ends up getting a job, and so he has experience working and everything like that. He just stays out of trouble. So. And then he ends up like getting in line to go to college, which is really great. And then one day he goes and he checks out this campus, but his bike breaks down. He basically starts hitching. Somebody pulled over, and he got in, and this guy ended up stealing the car that they got into. The cops end up pulling him over, and he's sentenced to this juvie camp. It's highly racist. It's very segregated. The white kids are in one campus, and the other half of the campus is the black kids. And the black kids, of course, are treated like dirt, and just bad things happen, and just horrific things happen. A lot of there's killings, and then he ends up befriending one of his friends. His name's Turner. In the book, he writes down all the bad stuff that's happening. After he gets beat like once, and then after that he's kind of like he falls in line, and he knows not to like rock the boat. He tries to get all this information out to people that can help, and it doesn't work, and he ends up getting beat again and thrown into basically solitary confinement. And basically he thinks that he's gonna die because they're gonna go and they're just gonna beat him and probably bury him and just say that he ran away. And back then, a lot of people just didn't care, and it's really sad about that. So they end up escaping. Him and his buddy end up escaping. So for this part of the book, the author tells about Elwood. He's older now, but he's escaped. He's in the city. He's getting some work underneath his belt. He saves money. He ends up getting a car or a van. He starts his own moving company, and it jumps back to the past, and it tells a little bit more about the Nickle boys and him and his friend. What happened, and then he goes back to the future again, and Elwood has his own business now, and he's making it and everything like that. Then it goes back to the past, and it tells the end of the story of what happened at Nickle with him and Turner and everything. And then it goes back to the future, and he's older now, and he's married to his wonderful woman, and his business is really good. And then they open up this big investigation about the old Nickle place, and all these memories are dredged up. And he ends up telling his wife about something, and anyways, he's going to end up going back. But I don't want to tell you too much of that about what happens around that time, because that's the big deal. Like whenever he does escape and he gets out of there, and how he does it, it's a big deal. It's really good. I have some thoughts about this. At one point, Elwood feels very like he's getting used to the place. He's now part of it. It's normal. It seems normal for him. And I was thinking maybe the author was like, he contrasts the old society and the new society, like the 2000s and stuff like that. So it's like, this is the way it was back then, and this is the way it is now. But back then, Elwood he got to the point where he was really used to all the abuse and everything like that. He was used to it, and it became normal for him. It almost like he was very, very passive now. He stopped fighting and thinking about running and justice and everything like that. So I was thinking maybe the author did that, and then contrasted it with today's violence and everything, and the racial profiling and all the other bad stuff that's going on in nowadays. Maybe he's basically saying, like, look, look how complacent he got back then, and that's how we are now. Even though it's not as violent as it was back then, it's not as blatant and out there. Now it's more hidden and very, very subtle, with all of the killings with the police and everything like that, and just the basic racism that's right underneath everybody's skin. And I think that maybe he was making that contrast, but I could just be grasping at things. And one of my other friends thought that maybe Elwood and Turner are the one and the same, and he basically said that when he went in there, that's when he learned, like, there's two different worlds. There was like an inner struggle within the school. The way the author wrote this book, it was really well. It moved. He moved the story along. It seemed like it was really quick, like just really quick arcs of time. He's talking about like going to school for in college and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden now he's been sentenced to Nickle. So it's like, wow, it's like. But what he does is it kind of, as he goes along, he fills out more of the character, more of Elwood. He talks more and stuff like that about some of the other things, in the past and stuff, as he's telling the present story. And there's so many stories, like, sad stories about the Nickle boys, not just the two main characters, but other ones, and just heart-wrenching. And whenever I think about this, and I think it's just because the way I was raised, and basically just in this time period right now, 2020, it's hard for me to understand the racism, the hatred. It breaks my heart. Like, I don't understand why people did that the way they did. But I know it's because back then that the culture was what it was, and I don't know. I tried to understand it. It's just like, I understand, like, back then they did what they did because that's what they did. That was they thought it was normal, I guess. I don't know, but I get what they mean by saying, like, it was what it was. And racism back then, it didn't even, I don't even think they even cared or they understood what racism was, or they just thought it was normal. But to go beyond just even that, I mean, that is bad enough, but to go even beyond that, to like beat somebody and to just like kick them and like treat them like animals and lower beings, like I I can't understand that level. Like, you get past the norm, you get past the normal cultural normalcy. You know, you get past that. You get to that point. But what makes you go beyond that to just want to hate somebody, like, just to inflict that much pain, like, to a person? I don't understand it, but it's I'm glad that there's books like these out here. It helps you realize the history, like our history, and it sucked, right? I think it's just good to know where we came from, and as an American, and what our history really was like, so we don't make those mistakes again. So we learn from them, so we don't do this ever again. Or we don't do this at all, because it's horrific. It's sad, and it's tragic. All right, there's a part in here that really made me think too. Listen to this. It says, the first shotgun blast missed. Turner checked again. It was Henpen. Harper stopped next. He held the shotgun like his daddy showed him when he was a boy. His daddy wasn't around much, but he taught him at least this thing. Basically, that sentence right there, and another one that I should have marked it down or something like that. But that basically said that they learned, all the guards there were somewhat young, and they learned that from their dad. So they learned their racism from their dad. They learned their racism, and they learned from their racism from their dad. So it's a generational thing, and the only way it's going to stop is if we make it stop. So anyways, in the book, he even said that one of the guards had overheard his dad back in the day talking about how to control the black people and grind them down, and what to do next, when to chain them up, when to throw them in the box, and stuff like that. And it goes a generation. If you don't stop it now, then it's just going to continue. And I feel strongly about that. If you teach your kids that, that's the way that it's going to be. But then again, like, the people out there that do think like this, they don't care, and they will teach their kids hate and racism and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's going to take education, and hopefully something will break through all of that racism and hate. Anyways, those were some of the points that I kind of really liked about the book. I mean, there's a lot to like about it, and yeah, I stayed up pretty late finishing it up. It's a good book. It makes you really think. It makes you really open your mind a little bit, I guess. I don't know. So, anyways, that was it, and I hope you guys like it. So the next book that I'll probably be reviewing will be War and Peace, I believe, because I'm almost done with that. I'm probably about 75% done with that one. It's an audio book, so I only listen to it once in a while when I can. I'm still working on the 12 Steps with 12 Steps for Life by Jordan Peterson, and I should be starting another book here on our channel. It's gonna be probably it's going to be a romance novel, I believe, because it was Anna's pick. So, Anna, you basically won, so I guess we're just going to go ahead and pick that book and read that one too. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you're having a great day, a great month. I'll see you next time. Remember, books matter too. So do you. Adios.